però diciamo che a livello realizzativo eravamo capaci di fare, insomma, potevamo costruire le parti in compositi. Oggi invece facciamo tutte le parti metalliche in MODA design, questa nuova realtà che vi invito a vedere perché è molto interessante, circa 800 parti, compreso il volante, che partiamo da un blocco che pesa 42 kg per farlo pesare 1,5 kg, poco più di 1,5 kg. Tutte le parti metalliche che voi vedete, dalle sospensioni, gli interni, alluminio, titanio, vengono fatte in casa. Le centraline, al netto di quelle che riguardano la gestione del motore e dei sistemi di controllo come l'ABS, l'ESP eccetera, che le farà Bosch, con cui abbiamo un rapporto da tanti anni, tutte le altre centraline vengono sviluppate in casa. Oggi abbiamo un ufficio, un reparto elettronica con gente giovane molto preparata, e anche tutta la parte idraulica, ad esempio Hannes menzionava la centralina, la gestione del cambio, ecco, tutto questo viene oggi disegnato, calcolato e costruito dentro della Pagani, quindi l'azienda è cresciuta, c'è un reparto di simulazione, anche veramente tutti i ragazzi giovani estremamente in gamba, e quindi credo che la cosa più importante per il futuro di un'azienda sia investire nella conoscenza, e su questo noi ci stiamo impegnando, devo dire, abbastanza.
Who goes now?
As you wish.
So my father has this ability of speaking for hours and not letting everyone to translate. So sorry, I'm just kidding. So we're used to it. So some of these things that he said are not news to us. So
almeno gli italiani mi capiscono.
We have Italians in the room. For them, it's perfect. So when the company started back in 1998, the Zonda was fully designed and engineered in-house. Engine and gearbox were provided by external suppliers, but most of the design and engineering was something that we were capable of doing with a very tiny group of people. I think it was 12, 15, something like that.
I think it was around 20 when I joined.
Yeah, 20. Yeah, that's right. The evolution of the company for us is really investing in doing investments in knowledge and know-how. So how a company can evolve from being a small manufacturer building 20 to 25 cars back at the time of the Zonda, and then doing an increase slowly over time of about 10, 15 cars with Waira, and then now is about 50 to 55. So the increase in volumes hasn't changed that much, but what has changed is the amount of things we do in-house. He mentioned MODA design. For some of you that have seen images of the Zonda, you can find it on the lateral view of the car. It's signed by MODA Design. Is the company that my father started back in the beginning of the 90s, which was the company that used to design and engineer parts for external suppliers, for external companies, and then it's the company that designed the Zonda. When the Zonda F, I think, when the Zonda F came on board, MODA Design was, let's say, retired for a few years, and we started signing the car with Horacio Pagani signature on the side. And just about last year, we decided to bring back MODA Design, because we purchased all the company that used to build for us all the machine parts that you'll find in the car. He said it's about 800 parts per car. And we invite all of you to come and see it. It's a facility which is just a few hundred meters from our headquarters. So it's a place where we do all the metal parts that you see, the aluminum, the titanium, or everything that comes from a single block is now part of our knowledge, part of our technology. back in the past, we weren't able to develop all the hydraulics or the electronics that manages the car. The only ones that are now still outsourced are the ones that manage ABS, traction control, all the safety features that are developed by Bosch, which is a partner that has been with us for a long time. But the knowledge and the technology for us is really to get a young group of individuals that are now capable of doing many more things in the car that can dialogue with each other. So all the hydraulics and the electronics, it's now developed in-house, and many more things.
Yeah, and actually, when you come to Pagani, please take advantage of this invitation that Christopher just expressed, and you visit Modena Design. We will pull up a chair for you in front of one of the machines, and if you have patience, you can witness the steering wheel, which is like it's a 43-kilo block of aluminum, which will be milled down to a part that in the end weighs 1.5 kilos. As I said, it takes a lot of time, so you need to have great patience, but it's a ballet of tools that go around. It's mesmerizing to watch.
E poi oltre al lavoro di queste macchine che sono estremamente sofisticate, diciamo lo stato dell'arte, no? Delle macchine che sono disponibili oggi, c'è la manualità, perché per finire il volante, per lucidarlo e prepararlo poi per la colorazione, che è un'anodizzazione, ci vuole una intera giornata di una persona, così come anche per tutti gli altri particolari che vedete, cioè le macchine per quanto sofisticate fanno una parte, ma così come per il resto dell'automobile, dai compositi a tutto il resto, ci vuole il lavoro delle mani, anche per tutte queste parti metalliche ci vuole il lavoro delle mani.
But even though there's machines that mill out these sculptures out of a block of material, there's still a human component to it, because once you have the final machine part, a human takes it and polishes it by hand, and so is done by all the metal components that you will see on the car anywhere. So if they are aluminum or titanium, they're all hand polished and after they have been machined. And you just made the example of the steering wheel again. It takes over 1 day just for one person to actually polish it to get it to the final result.
Un altro punto che volevo toccare, poi voglio darvi tanto dopo traduci. Dopo volevo darvi la possibilità di farci delle domande riguardo i pneumatici. Noi abbiamo iniziato una collaborazione nel 2008 con Pirelli. Ai tempi abbiamo avuto il grande privilegio di essere stati coinvolti in quello che era il sistema MIRS, che è un brevetto della Pirelli, un sistema che permette di costruire i pneumatici non semplicemente prendendo una striscia di gomma con delle tele e girandola attorno al pneumatico, al futuro pneumatico, ma con un sistema robotizzato che è un sistema che lavora in un modo molto simile a come noi facciamo i materiali compositi, ovvero va a depositare con degli angoli predeterminati i tessuti, i rinforzi dei pneumatici. Quindi questo sistema l'ha inventato la Pirelli e noi l'abbiamo testato sulle nostre macchine, siamo stati in laboratorio, lì si è creato veramente un rapporto molto, molto bello, molto interessante.
And one last thing before we would like to hear your questions also. We wanted to mention the partnership we have with Pirelli. We talked partnership that we have with AMG, with Bosch. So we're also very proud of these partnerships. And Pirelli, for instance, we work together with since 2008. At the time, Pirelli was testing a new way to manufacture tires, especially in low volumes. It's called, the technology is called MIRS, M-I-R-S, which is basically a robotized integrated production system, which improves the the construction of the tire. So whereas a standard tire would just be basically wound, here you have robots that actually place different fabrics on top of each other. So it's very similar in some way to how the carbon fiber is actually made, if you think about it. In order to get the precise rigidity that you wish to have from the tire. So Pirelli at the time introduced this technology, and we said, okay, we would gladly try it out and test it for you. This is how this relationship started with Pirelli.
Lo scorso anno a Goodwood sono stati presentati questi pneumatici, e questi pneumatici sono stati fatti prima volta nella storia che un pneumatico viene fatto con l'aiuto dell'intelligenza artificiale. E siamo partiti nel 2016 a acquisire informazione sui nostri prototipi per, ovviamente lavorando insieme con Pirelli, per arrivare a creare un pneumatico in maniera molto più rapida. Pensate che ad esempio i pneumatici di Utopia Coupé ne abbiamo fatto tipo 23 mescole o tipi diversi posteriori, una ventina anteriori, comunque una quantità enorme di pneumatici che dovevano essere progettati, costruiti e poi testati, no? E poi testare non vuol dire dare 3 giri in pista, ma vuol dire fare anche delle volte migliaia di chilometri. Quindi con questo sistema e lavorando insieme a loro siamo riusciti a ridurre a 5 le miscele, i tipi di pneumatici, per poi arrivare a quello che poi è stato, diciamo, scelto. Quindi anche in questo, sempre con lo stimolo dei Pirelli e anche con il lavoro di tutti i nostri ragazzi che sono veramente bravi, siamo riusciti a crearlo. E adesso il prossimo passo è le gomme slick, fatte sempre. Abbiamo provato a Monza il mercoledì scorso, la settimana fa, i primi pneumatici fatti utilizzando l'intelligenza artificiale su una gomma, su un tipo di pneumatico slick.
And Pirelli is constantly innovating the tire technology space. So in the past, and tires are an incredibly important part of the car. Much also from the evolution that you see or that you have seen over the years in terms of also performance, what cars can achieve, both road and also track cars, comes also from the tire technology. And obviously Pirelli is at the forefront there, and they've been the first also to introduce artificial intelligence tools into the tire development. And that meant really that whereas in the past you would have a very lengthy process and with a lot of trial and error also on physical samples, where you had, for example, 28 different variants of tires with different compounds, different thread patterns, and it would be a very, very lengthy process. Nowadays, you can reduce that to 5 iterations. So we only tested 5 different iterations of tires during the development of this tire in order to get to the final result. And this technology is now applied also to all of the tires that we make that Pirelli makes for Pagani. And you will see on the sidewall of the tire, you will see they're branded Pagani, so they're specific bespoke tires. They will use these tools also in the future.
E invece,
sorry, one thing just to add. Last week we were in Monza testing the slick tires made out of the same technology for our race car, which is the YR. You may have heard of it. And of course there is room for bringing the technology also in racing, and they have a huge opportunity and data that comes from F1 and all the racing series they do. So this will also help all the different brands. They approach the track not with race cars, but with more of a gentleman driver car, with like our Zonda R or YR. And this was, let's say, the innovations of last year with the Trofeo RS.
Allora, mi permetto di, visto che siete tutti esperti, di spiegarle quello che secondo noi e secondo anche tanti esperti nel mondo della dinamica del veicolo diventerà, credo, una rivoluzione dal punto di vista della sicurezza, che è l'ultima invenzione che ha fatto Pirelli nel mondo dei pneumatici. Fai l'introduzione?
He'd like to speak about the latest technology that was the latest innovation that was just presented back in Goodwood Festival of Speed in July. So we had this amazing panel with them and their team to speak about what could be one of the most amazing innovation in the tire production on all the different levels, not just on hypercars, but for all different brands.
Ora, negli anni penso 70-80 sono stati introdotti dei sistemi per evitare il patinamento e per evitare il bloccaggio dei freni, l'ASR e l'ABS nei pneumatici. Bosch, diciamo che è stato fatto dalla Volvo per primo, però Bosch è stata quello che l'ha introdotto praticamente per primi nella produzione e questo ovviamente c'è stato un prima e un dopo per quanto riguarda la sicurezza.
In the 70s and in the 80s there has been the introduction of the safety systems on the cars, which were first developed by Volvo, and then Volvo together with Bosch brought it to another level of safety in all the different years that went from the 70s up to today, with all the different opportunities by making something always more updated when it comes to ABS and traction control.
E come funziona il sistema? Lo sapete tutti, però ve lo dico in maniera molto, molto semplice. C'è un sensore nel portamosso, cioè quello che prende la ruota, c'è un sensore che legge la velocità, no? E quindi quando lui vede che questo pneumatico si muove più rapidamente rispetto a quell'altro, ovviamente è perché c'è meno grip, patinamento, e cerca di compensare e fare in modo che tutti e due si muovano alla stessa velocità per avere la stessa trazione.
So, how does traction control work? Very simplified. There's a sensor within each wheel hub, of course, a wheel speed sensor, which senses the revolutions per minute, and the car obviously knows the speed it's going by taking the speed on all four wheels. And it calculates that if the speed of the rear wheel exceeds the actual speed of the other wheels, it means that the wheel is actually spinning. So it cuts down power, or it breaks the wheel down in order to get back to a level where the car has grip.
Questi sistemi si sono ovviamente evoluti nel tempo, perciò oggi in una vettura ci sono dei sensori, ci sono dei sensori che misurano le forze laterali, insomma è stato migliorato il sistema, ovviamente è stata migliorata la sicurezza, però quello che ha fatto Pirelli, e anche qua siamo veramente felici di essere stati parte di questo progetto già dal 2016-2017, quello che ha fatto Pirelli adesso è una cosa credo geniale, ovvero quella di mettere un sensore all'interno del pneumatico, cioè qui in questo caso possono essere anche più di uno, in questo momento ce n'è uno, un sensore che all'interno che tocca l'asfalto, no? Allora che cosa succede? Tutto quello che succedeva prima arrivava praticamente fino al cerchio, però non teneva presente di quello che erano tutte le dinamiche del pneumatico, ovvero le problematiche legate al caldo, al freddo, al ghiaccio e all'acquaplanina ad esempio, no? E quindi Pirelli ha creato questo sistema che si chiama Cyber Tire, sono presenti in questa macchina, e dove questo sensore in tempo reale trasmette alla vettura le informazioni riguardo l'asfalto, e questo ha fatto sì che anche nei prossimi mesi, credo che comincerete a vedere dei video con delle cose che noi abbiamo la fortuna di aver vissuto in questi anni, dove una vettura arriva, diciamo c'è un ostacolo, arriva questa vettura senza il cyber, investe questo ostacolo, col cyber sul bagnato è in grado di evitarlo o di frenare molto prima, e quindi è veramente una rivoluzione che io mi auguro vivamente che possa non solo essere utilizzata sulla Pagani, che possa andare in tutte le macchine nelle macchine di tutti i giorni, perché sarà un cambiamento incredibile per la sicurezza.
So why do we believe that we are on the verge of another revolution in terms of safety and performance also now when it comes to tire technology? Because whereas in the past decades the traction control systems and ABS systems, they've been constantly more evolved, right? And you could see that you have tested many cars, right? We're sure, and you would see from each generation there's obviously faster computers, they can take more information, there's more sensors on the car, but in the end it's always the same principle. You don't have a smart tire, you have basically just a tire that has no intelligence whatsoever. No, you don't know anything, you only know when something has happened that shouldn't happen. So the car is always reacting to something that isn't supposed to happen. With the new technology that Pirelli has developed, and we've been working with them since 2017, and it's present in this car, you have tires that actually have a sensor in them. And this sensor reads actual data from the road, and it can have data on temperature. It has also an accelerometer inside. It can read and it can translate those informations into actual grip, available grip instantaneously. So you have the possibility of no longer reacting, but you can predict the behavior. So this makes it possible that you can actually control engines, brakes much quicker, as opposed to what you would do if you were just reacting to a situation of wheel spin. And you will see in the coming months also some demonstration videos where you can see a car with a cyber tire, which is what this technology is called, and the car without it, so with a conventional stability program. And even with the conventional stability program, at some point you will reach a physical limit and where a crash can no longer be prevented. And with this technology, the safety margin is just increased way more. And obviously that translates also into performance. And we hope that this technology isn't just confined to hypercars. I mean, it's all fine and well if these are the cars that are the first to introduce this, because obviously until it becomes broader volumes, it's also quite expensive. But this really, we are convinced, will be the next step towards a new revolution in safety.
Perfect timing. Ecco. Pip, stop. Ok, siamo a disposizione vostra.
So as you can understand from the Italian version, he said that he's ready for you. So anything you want to ask, we have our friend here that flew all the way from Belgium to be here with us to give you the mic, or you can do it without the microphone, whatever you feel like. But just raise your hand if you want to ask something to Horacio, to Hannes and myself. Thank you.
Sir, please.
Ho visto che da una parte hai lasciato le ruote, quelle che stavano sulla Utopia coupé, e dall'altra parte non ci sta più la parte interna del carbonio. Questo cambia anche per la struttura del pneumatico o per che cosa?
In realtà sono nuove entrambe. Quelle sono, diciamo, quelle standard, quelle dell'altra parte. Queste non sono quelle della coupé, ma sono state create per questa. Riescono a smaltire meglio il calore e le abbiamo messo per quello scopo lì. Sono ancora in uno stadio, diciamo, di ricerca, le stiamo sempre migliorando per lo scopo che avranno. Questi, diciamo, sono quelli più racing, che non è così. Magari traduci per gli altri.
The car has currently two set of different wheels. The ones that have the Aeroblade are also a different design from the Coupe. The Aeroblade option was something that was created for the Utopia Coupe, and on the Roadster version has a new design, and also helps to dissipate the heat that you will find in the braking area, and also helps the aerodynamics, so the air to flow around the rim with a better flow. We always have this approach that we put different rims on the car so you can enjoy both designs. But these ones that you see now are the, let's say, the Utopia Roadster standard version, and the Aeroblade will be the option version of rim. More of a racy kind of design.
Volevo commentare una cosa, prima che arrivi la seconda domanda. Tanto grazie a tutti voi che siete, diciamo, quelli che potete comunicare al mondo quello che stiamo facendo, grazie. In Italia c'è una rivista che è la più vecchia forse rivista, no, del mondo dell'auto, giusto? Si chiama Quattro Ruote, e qui abbiamo l'onore oggi di avere il direttore di questa rivista, che ci fa veramente molto piacere. La rivista che più storia ha in Italia.
So first of all, thanks for being here. We are again very glad that you took part of the morning session. But before we give you the opportunity for more questions, we'd like to say a few words about an Italian magazine which is called Quattro Ruote.
Quanti anni?
1956.
Is one of the oldest magazines in the world. The director is here, is from 1956. So we're very honored to have you with us. So thank you.
I haven't been the editor-in-chief since 1956.
You weren't there the first day.
No, I wasn't born yet.
If not, we all come to work there because it's like you stay young. As you can see, the design of the design of the doors has the same style of the coupe, so it's a butterfly doors.
La macchina ha quel tetto, quando ha il tetto montato è come una coupé praticamente. Il tetto però non ha contributi strutturali di nessun tipo, perché la scocca, come abbiamo detto prima, è molto, cioè, rigida quanto quella della coupé, però ti permette di godertela come una coupé. In più c'è una capotina, ma molto sofisticata, che va dentro di un beauty che c'è nella macchina. In questo momento non c'è, stiamo completando lo sviluppo. È molto molto leggera e anche molto semplice da montare. Anche questo tettuccio si monta in qualche secondo.
What you find on the stand over there is the hardtop. As you can see, it has a large window. In the Utopia Coupe, you had two different windows. So this is again one of the differences between the Coupe and the Roadster. It's a very lightweight hardtop. It doesn't give any structural benefit to the car because, as we said, the rigidity without the roof is what we really care. So it's a beautiful piece of engineering. It's very light, but again, It's something that you will keep in your in the car. The car comes also with a soft top, which you can keep in the beauty case just behind your seats. So it's a very sophisticated soft top, because as you know, space isn't with us when it comes to interiors. So we always have to find creative ways to make something easy to install, but also very lightweight. When the car is closed with his R-top, the design looks pretty similar to a coupe. So the car has, let's say, two
souls.
Two souls.
Well, when you said sophisticated about the soft top, I just want to make sure that it's sophisticated in basically in the engineering to make it very simple. So you don't have to have an engineering degree or a past in Boy Scouts in order to fit that. So it's just a couple of seconds job.
How are we doing with time? Good. So, any other over there?
Is the manual gearbox, is it more expensive for customers than the automated gearbox?
Yes, the manual gearbox is an option that comes at the price, because again, as we said, in terms of the actual engineering and development effort, as crazy as it might sound, it's nowadays more expensive to develop a manual gearbox, so it does cost more. Yeah.
Can you tell us the size and the weight of the clutch?
Il diametro o il peso della frizione?
Il diametro della frizione è 215 mm, cioè molto piccola, tridisco. I carichi che andiamo a esercitare con il tridisco in realtà non sono altissimi, quindi nonostante la coppia, e perciò c'è un buon margine con la vettura, la previsione è stata sovradimensionata. Okay? Dovevamo forse portarla per farla vedere, perché è un oggetto anche estremamente sofisticato come è stato costruito. Non ricordo il peso, ma faccio un messaggio a un ingegnere che ve lo dico.
Lo svegliamo di notte.
Ma non è notte ancora, no?
No, ancora siamo in tempo. So the question was about the clutch, the size and the weight of the clutch. We can't recall off the top of our heads the weight now, but it's actually quite a small diameter clutch. It's 215 millimeters. It's a triple disc clutch, and it's not very stressed in the sense that we have over-engineered it. In fact, most of our clients, they have very, very high mileages and very long intervals before they need to change a clutch. Normally, they change a clutch every 25,000 kilometers. So it's and that's with some pretty aggressive driving as well. So we don't want clients to go through the headaches and have to change the clutch every couple of thousand miles. That's something we don't want.
You have to take off the engine to replace the clutch?
Dobbiamo spostare. No, the engine no, just the gearbox.
La frizione si fa in una giornata, 2 persone, da sempre.
Mm-hmm.
Pensa che questo, avendo lavorato in un'altra azienda dove cambiare la frizione era veramente molto costoso, perché la Lamborghini aveva il cambio davanti al motore, quindi era necessario tirarlo giù per cambiarlo, e ovviamente i clienti si lamentano, no, del costo, e quindi quando abbiamo fatto la Zonda già abbiamo pensato che la frizione si dovesse cambiare facilmente. Lui aveva 13 anni, il fratello 14.
Sfruttamento del lavoro.
Esatto, ormai è scaduto il tempo, e venivano in ditta anche il sabato. Oggi che cosa c'è da fare, papà? Oggi c'è da cambiare la frizione su quella macchina lì. e si mettevano lì, dalla mattina alla sera avevano finito di cambiare la frizione. Uno bravo lo faceva da solo in due, lo faceva da solo nell'arco della giornata. È molto facile. Qua devi, non togli, se vuoi cambiarla, non devi togliere neanche il cofano, tiri via il paraurto posteriore e poi vai.
So replacing the clutch is also very easy. It's a one-day job for two people, two mechanics, because you just take the rear bumper off and the muffler and the gearbox. Then you replace the clutch and back on it goes. So it's very simple. And maintenance, that I think that brings up a good point in general. Maintaining a Pagani is very easy. It's a very easy car to service. In fact, the mechanics appreciate that it's very accessible. You don't need to take a lot of stuff out just to get to some points, and that's also very important for us. That's also our designers and engineers. It's one of the targets that we give them during design and development. We say, design the car in a way so that it is very easy to service it, because yes, you fall in love with the car when you see it, right? It's a beautiful car, and yeah, it's all nice and well. But then when you have to live with it, you want it to be as easy as possible. So that has always been a factor for us.
Poi in realtà noi vogliamo che il cliente non venga, cioè non debba spendere tanti soldi, perché queste macchine la verità è che si comprano con la passione, no? C'è un istinto, perché sono macchine che sei, diciamo, obbligato a comprarti una macchina come questa. Sono quasi degli oggetti inutili, no? Però la compra con la passione, non chiedono nemmeno lo sconto, e se lo chiedono noi il giorno prima aumentiamo il prezzo. Però nel momento in cui devono andare a pagare il conto di una riparazione, lì lavora al 100% il cervello.
So you buy these cars because you have a passion, so it's a decision that comes from the heart. When you see the repair bills, then it's purely 100% brain driven. The heart doesn't really. So reducing the downtime for the car, reducing the costs of ownership, that's something that is extremely important. Even though it's an extremely expensive car, that is always an important factor.
E poi c'è anche un'altra cosa. Se devo cambiare una frizione in garanzia a $250 all'ora qua in America, mi costa un botto, quindi devo per forza pensare bene, progettarla bene, in modo di non buttare via dei soldi.
So if ever we had to replace a clutch on warranty, let's say, considering the labor costs that you have, especially here in the US, we want to pay us as little as possible, so to keep our costs down as well.
Ok.
This is becoming a comedian now. Comedy show.
C'è una frase che dice: è più facile risparmiare che guadagnare. Perché risparmiare dipende da te, guadagnare non è che sia sempre così scontato che dipende da te.
There is a saying that saving costs is easier than earning money, because saving is something that normally is 100% under your control. Earning, there's a couple of other factors that are outside of your sphere of influence.
Questions?
You talked about emissions and developing a clutch being a big challenge. Are there any other big challenges you face making the car?
Se ci sono altre sfide anche per fare una macchina oltre al tema di emissioni, sì, magari parlerei un po' di più del motore, anche per il tema che appunto senza
perché Mercedes ha fatto un lavoro
incredibile. Yeah, it's a very good question. It's something we actually forgot to talk about, so thank you for bringing it up. Because the car doesn't have any kind of hybridization, right? It has a 12-volt battery, so you just start the engine with that. You don't do anything else. So, but in terms of emissions, it is fully compliant with global rules until 2030 at least. So from the rules that we have, the visibility now, it's fully compliant. And so how did we achieve that? And that's really down to the effort that also Mercedes did. So they accepted the challenge. As I said, first and foremost, about doing this for just a pure combustion engine car, and then together with a manual. So it's like it's double the challenge. And they did that, and really, in the end, the emission levels and also the fuel consumption has even been reduced. So despite the fact that we have more power than we had in the past, in terms of fuel consumption, the car is actually more efficient than previous Paganis used to be. And there's still a lot that you can do. But in the end, what Mercedes found here is really a very good platform that is as light as it is. So they said that helps us achieving these goals, because if the car without the powertrain would have been heavier than it is, then the only way to get around is by adding some stuff that then adds further weight. And when you go through the first corner, you will notice that.
Thank you.
How many Utopias have you produced so far? And do you have a number, or do you have an estimate of how many are coming to the US?
Well, I better have a precise number on how many come to the US rather than just an estimate. So now it's 35% of the production comes to North America. Actually, that includes Canada as well, so not just the US. And we have now produced. We are now producing the 40th Coupe, and we are starting the production of the Roadster now, and the first car will be delivered at the beginning of next year. So there will be, starting next year, we will have production of both the remaining Coupes and the Roadsters as well. So they run in parallel. That's also a first for Pagani, that we have basically both cars produced at the same time. But you might have maybe a client that is more inclined to a Coupe and one that prefers a Roadster. So we said, okay, let's mix them.
I have a question concerning this. Is there any clients that switch from the Coupe to the Roadster?
No, not really. It's like an open secret that after a Coupe, a Roadster eventually will come. So if a client comes and asks us, will there be a Roadster when we introduce the Coupe? It's not like we would tell them, no, we won't do that, right? So there are some clients that even ask us for both. I mean, we have to be careful, because we want to make sure that we keep also our levels of exclusivity. In fact, Christopher said the growth that we have had in 20 years, and of course now we've produced double the cars that we did 10 years ago, but then the whole market has increased even more than that. So on a percentage basis, so if you say, okay, what is our market share, we are still as exclusive now as we have been 10 years ago or 20 years ago, and that's also very important, and we want to keep that. So when you do a car that you have a Coupe and a Roadster, given the high demand, you need to make sure that you can distribute them quite evenly. So there are not many clients that get both. There are a few clients that have both, and there are a few more that would want to have both, but they didn't get them.
Ma di fianco abbiamo creato un'area per fare le configurazioni e abbiamo circa oggi 20 clienti. C'è anche il nostro capo dello stile Alberto là, e Valentina, che sono qui a aiutare nelle scelte ai nostri clienti, e una buona parte dei clienti che vedremo oggi hanno la Coupé e adesso configurano la Roadster.
So some of the clients that actually have both the Coupe and the Roadster are also here these days in Monterey, of course, because big car guys, as you may know, and they are actually configuring their Roadster here, because we set up a configuration area here at the hotel. So we brought our chief designer Alberto, from Italy, and also our colleague Valentina, who's the configuration expert at Pagani, and they have all the tools here, the digital configurator, so they samples they can run through all the specs, and they're really working as we speak now.
You guys have been around for a while now. Are there any qualities in your clients that differentiate them from other high-end collectors? Like if you meet them, you're like, oh, they're a Pagani customer, just based off these attributes.
Se i nostri clienti si differenziano da altri clienti collezionisti, direi che possono
Posso
anche
rispondere?
Rispondo.
Diciamo che molti dei nostri clienti hanno la fortuna di poter avere anche altre macchine, Ferrari, Bugatti, altre macchine di questo tipo. Quindi in generale devo dire forse il 90% sono delle persone estremamente rispettose, con cui c'è un bellissimo rapporto, sono delle persone che ci stimolano molto nel crescere. Ovviamente pagando quello che pagano queste macchine sono estremamente esigenti, però fondamentalmente sono delle persone con cui noi impariamo veramente molto. Forse non mi piace fare confronti, quello che si è creato con noi è un rapporto veramente quasi di amicizia, di famiglia, che va al di là, diciamo, dell'essere un cliente, di essere semplicemente un cliente.
So, obviously a person that spends this amount of money for a car is pretending a lot, and rightly so, we believe. And there is a very direct contact, and as we said before, we get a lot of feedback also on what our clients wish to see also for future Paganis and in our products. And we don't want to make any comparisons now with other brands. Most of our clients have big car collections, so they don't just have Paganis in their collection, but there's many other great cars that they have, Ferraris, Bugattis, but it's so we don't know what relationship they have with the other manufacturers. As far as we are concerned, that relationship normally tends to be almost a familiar relationship where they become part of the family. So we become really close friends actually with our clients, and that's a privilege that we have. This is something that probably not many companies in the world can have, and we are extremely grateful that we can have this opportunity also.
Perché aggiungo una cosa. To add on what he said, that something we find common in all of them is how much we learn from them. So it's not really them asking us, but it's us going to them to learn by their knowledge on the hypercar automotive industry, and in general by listening you learn so much, and this is something that we all share with all of them, and it's not just North America. We have a whole market, so Asia Pacific, Europe, the Middle East. So every one of them have a history to tell, and they have things that we can learn, and this is what we find. It's one of the most important things we have every day.
Quello che è capitato in questi anni, e devo dire anche fortunatamente per il mondo dell'automobile, è che diciamo dei brand, pensiamo solo Ferrari, no? Ferrari è il mito, credo che l'ambizione di ogni appassionato di automobile arrivare a comprarti una Ferrari, ma anche una Lamborghini, macchine così che hanno una storia incredibile, Porsche. Quello che non è che questi brand non siano in grado di fare macchine come questo, se sono certo che le possono fare, però sono diventati talmente grandi, c'è più di 10.000 macchine all'anno, che ovviamente diventa più difficile gestire 10.000, per quanto puoi avere una struttura gigante, gestire 10.000 persone che gestire 40-50 clienti come noi o come un altro piccolo costruttore.
So, one thing that probably puts us also in a position that we can have this and entertain this relationship with the clients is obviously the scale of things, the scale of our company, cars that have manufacturers that have a long history. Take Ferrari, take Lamborghini, Porsche. Obviously, over the decades, they have evolved, and also in volumes, they're now big, very big companies. They have tens of thousands of customers. So, of course, they will always try to get the same direct relationship, but it is obviously more challenging in such a company. For us, when we do 50 cars per year, it's very easy to keep that direct relationship. So we want to have that for as long as we can.
Volete prendere un caffè, mi sembra?
I think we all need a coffee.
Ok.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Grazie. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. It's for the car as from winter to
Hello everyone, my name is Hannes Zanon. I'm the general manager of Pagani Automobili, and I'm here to show you our latest member of the family, which is the Utopia Roadster, which you have here. The Utopia Roadster is very much parent of the Coupe if you look at the design and the styling, although it's a very different product technically speaking, and you see that by looking at some of the stats in terms of the weight. The Coupe and the Roadster of the Utopia share the exact same weight and the exact same rigidity on the chassis. And that was only possible by really developing two bespoke cars. In the end, they look very similar, but they're very different under the skin.
So where do you want it?
Next to the car.
Next? As in driver side?
Yeah.
Ok, quindi lato driver, così, standing up, in piede, la porta, esatto.
Great. Alright, 1, 2, 3.
Maybe you can cross your arms. Awesome. Beautiful. A few more. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Grazie Horacio.
Adesso?
Ok, adesso nella sala, nella campagna.
Thank you. Thank you.
Quindi adesso sulla parte
proprio perché i teli stanno coprendo le pentole, se vai dietro là si sente freddissimo, però devo tenere il
Comunque c'è una bellissima temperatura fuori. Perdone?
Posso alzare un po' queste luci qua, ma coprono la luce
Là?
puntata.
No, ma però io proverei a alzarle, sì, perché non vorrei che, perché è il primo impatto della gente, domani la vedrà da là, però oggi è il primo impatto, oggi
però
le devi colpire.
Oggi la vedono elegante, domani la vedono spaventire.
Ok.
E porta via le sedie, quelli così.
Adesso porto via le sedie e chiudo le porte.